Hi everybody and welcome back to my Mounjaro journey, because it is my journey. I'm going from A to B and I'm doing a lot of things along the way. So if you're new here, welcome. Please think about subscribing and joining our community. If you have joined our community and are relatively new here, make yourself known. Put some comments down, please. Comments in the comment section. Even if you don't like the colour of my hair or something. Anything, put some comments in and let us know who you are, what you're doing, what your journey is. And of course, if you're returning, welcome back as always. I'm so appreciative of you. Bloody fly, excuse my language. It just keeps buzzing round. I'm so appreciative of you coming back and watching the videos. And yeah, it's a nice little community, and we're growing. We're slow, but we're growing, which is good. So as always, quick disclaimer, I'm not medical, so any questions you do have that are medical, go and ask a doctor, a pharmacist, your nurse, somebody that's a professional, obviously, that I can't help with. And also I get my Mounjaro on the NHS because of type 2 diabetes, liver problems, other metabolic issues, and because I got fat. Anyway, so yeah, how have we been going? Well, I've got a lot of hay fever. You can see it's eyes a bit swollen. This one's a bit swollen as well. This one's always gets so swollen and sticky. So if it's sort of a bit slow, just ignore it. It's the way it does. I'm taking antihistamines, but every morning I wake up at watery, sticky eyes, double vision, and he gets tired. You know, I'm 54 now, so it gets a bit tired when we have hay fever, and I get pressure headaches across here, and I've had some sinus issues, so ignore the eye going a bit wobbly. Right, so 5 milligrams. First week I took it, I had the crash headaches. It was just pain. I was suffering the hay fever as well, so I got pain behind the eyes here, and I had this pain all the way around my back of my neck and my top and back of my head and top of my head. Then after 2 days, the nausea. Not had that one quite like that before. Food in front of me, could eat it, fine. Thought food, looking at food in the fridge. What can I eat for lunch? Oh, excuse me. What can I eat for lunch or breakfast? Or, yeah, it was just like, that one thing. I feel sick, which isn't the nicest feeling. That passed away about Saturday. So, of the first week. So that was, it's last Saturday. So it wasn't a long-lived side effect, thankfully. I've had some constipation, lots of burping. The burping has got worse. Touch wood and fingers crossed, it's not eggy burps. There's no sulphur burps going on. It's just plain old burping. Wind, that ain't always very nice, but we have food in our stomachs when we're on Mounjaro that's fermenting. Effectively, it's staying there longer than normal, or actually no, it's staying there longer than normal for us, and it's starting to ferment a little bit. People that have a slower sort of transit, because their GLP-1 and GIP hormones work correctly, probably don't eat as much as we try to do, even on Mounjaro. I know a lot of people go, I couldn't eat more than a little bit of this. Actually, I found that I can eat quite a lot, especially if it's salad. Pile the plate up with salad. So basically, I'm not getting terrible side effects. Headaches is about the only thing, and I don't know whether that's entirely Mounjaro based, because at the moment I can feel this all over here around there, and I can feel over the top here and over the top here. So I think a lot of that's hay fever, to be fair. I'm not one, I've had my sinuses have been, on this side particularly, quite painful when you press on the sinus points. They're really sore. But I'm not somebody that gets bunged up and sneezes. My other half, bless him, he just he's a landscape gardener and he used to do tree surgery as well, and yet he's just pouring most of the year. He's bunged up, he's sneezing. He's worse at the moment though, but runny eyes. So we're both suffering with that a bit. So eating well, salads and good food is always really helpful, because it's not going to mess up your metabolism and cause you a big problem when you're fighting something else, which is, yeah, not great. I don't like hay fever very much, but I don't suffer as badly as he does. So basically 5 has so far, touch wood and the old fingers crossed, 5 has been good to me. When I started 5, I weighed in at one. Bear with me a minute. Back again. Got some notes. I weighed in at 15695. Sorry, I'm reading them. It had gone up a little bit because I was a bit constipated that week. Okay, sorry, back. I had to get me a bit of paper. So the first Monday that I weighed and took 5 milligrams I was 156.95 kilos. I'd gone up a tiny bit. And then this Monday when I weighed, I was 154.35. Now I had some constipation, so we know what happens there. Suddenly you have quite a large loss, which was 2.6 kilos, which was £5.11, so almost £6, or 5.73 pounds loss in the week. It's obviously not a loss in the week, it's a loss over 2 weeks. So you're talking about £2.5–3 ish. Okay. I weighed in on Wednesday, which was yesterday. And my weight was 154.10, which was in 2 days 0.25 kilos off, which doesn't sound a lot, especially when you say 8.81 ounces, but it's 0.55 pounds, which is half a pound, not to be sneezed at. I'll tell you what I weigh today in a minute. So blood pressure has been good still. The heart rate is back up. I had a raft of bloods done last week. I won't go through all of them because then you won't. I will be here for ages and you'll just have a mind full of numbers and going, well, what does that mean? So because of the heart rate thing, I was really interested in my thyroid. I hadn't had an issue with my thyroid for a time, but it had been my TSH number had been a little bit high. Now the range is 0.55 to 4.78. I've been told I should be about 1 or below because of my Hashimoto's. Hello, you. He's come to say hello. So my TSH was 0.62. I won't go into what particular units they are, but well, here we have milliliter units per litre, okay? But they're different. American readings are different, but for mine it was 0.62 and the range is 0.55 to 4.78. So I'm okay, but some may say I'm a little low on my TSH number, which means I've got a bit too much thyroxine in me now. Now that's probably because I've lost weight and I don't need quite as much. I don't have the same amount of cells, so I don't need quite as much thyroxine. So I'm going to have a review of my thyroid medication. They're going to retest some things in about 3 to 4 months. So we shall see how that goes. Now, my T4 level. T4 is the name of what I take as a tablet, which is naturally produced in your thyroid, which sits around here somewhere. Maybe a little bit up there. It's a butterfly shaped thing. And my T4, the range for T4 was 9.7 to 24.7, and mine was 20.6. Now, it's not too high. Everything is within range, which is fine. It means I've got quite a lot of thyroxine in my body, again, because T4 is thyroxine, and that's what we take as an artificial hormone. I will get back onto Mounjaro in a minute, but for those people that wanted to know a little bit more about how this all affects me and my bloods and diabetes and thyroid and things, just explaining it to you. So at the moment I'm within range, but if I have too much more thyroxine, I may start to go into, I have hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's disease. Hashimoto's disease means you can flick between hypo, which is slow, and hyper, which is fast. But what can happen if you're over-medicated is you can switch into hyper, and that actually one of the things it can really affect is your heart. Not a slow heart rate, a really fast heart rate. So the thing is my heart rate is back to normal. It may have just been a blip. It may have just been me being unwell or something. I don't know. These things happen. But I do have a feeling it was the tablets I had and the fact that I was probably not absorbing as much thyroxine as I should have done. Anyway. Talking of the heart, they did a Q risk 2 10-year cardiovascular disease check on me. And it came as 7.99. I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent, because allegedly previously I was much lower than that. But I'm still in the low range. Below 10% is low. It doesn't say that you won't have a heart attack or a stroke or cardiovascular disease, but you're in a very low category. I surely must actually be getting lower. As I lose the weight, it's going to have less strain on my heart. My blood pressure's getting lower. Anyway, and from that, my heart age is 62. Now, there is a Q risk 3, and it sort of works out slightly differently because you have more information. But this is the Q risk 2, which the NHS are using. So I'm 54, about to be 55 later this month, and my heart age is 62 now. Considering how big I've been, I think that's pretty good. Hopefully we can get my heart age down further as we go. So full blood count, I had lots of them done, as I say. Full blood count, I was really pleased to see that my platelets were up to 149, which is over the bottom of the range, which is 140. I'd been below that. Now, your spleen can have an effect on your platelet count, and hopefully that means, my hepatologist said my enlarged spleen will never go back to normal, but it may shrink a bit. So hopefully this is proving that my spleen is in a better position, because I'm now in the normal range for platelets, which is good. You always have to remember with blood tests, and I was taught this by a senior phlebotomist that I spoke to about something some years ago, and they said our body is in flux all the time, so a snapshot tomorrow will be different to a snapshot next week, and the numbers will be up and down. Sometimes you'll look like you're out of range and you're not. It's just how your body is that day, for whatever reason. And also the thing is we don't know when we're ill. They take lots of bloods and check up on us, and if we're out of normal range, they start doing other tests. we don't know what is normal for us. I've always had a bit of a wobbly white blood cell count. Can go up and down. It can stay up quite high for some time and drop, and there's nothing wrong with me. And yeah, so it's quite complicated. I'm not an expert on it, but over the years, because I have my thyroid taken and they've done full blood counts, I've asked questions and I've tried to learn a bit more about it. I know some people don't care, they just want to know it's normal. But I like to know what's going on. I like to know when things are not quite right and why that's happening and whether there's something I can do to correct that, whether it be through food, vitamins, obviously losing weight, being healthier, etc. So it's always useful to know. So my cholesterol is, as always, good. It's the one thing, touch wood, that I've not had in any way, shape or form a problem with ever, is my cholesterol. I think the highest it went up was 5.3 or something. But they lower the ranges every so often because they find that people sitting at the top of the range actually have more of a problem, and so they lower the ranges, I think, so that they can catch things earlier, which is not a stupid thing, really. But anyway, so I think I was a bit higher than what the normal range is now, but it was only temporarily, and so that's down. That's 4.7. My HDL cholesterol is 1.52. HDL is your high density lipoprotein, which is the good cholesterol. It's gone up a little bit, which is great. And I think it's 2.25. I didn't write all these down. 2.25 for my low density lipoprotein. Not a fly in my coffee. He's been very naughty, this fly. So my LDL cholesterol has dropped a bit, as I say. I think it's 2.25. I can correct that if need be. It's not important. Now, kidneys, that was a very, very important one because, as we know on Mounjaro, we need to look after our kidneys by keeping hydrated. Now, before I started Mounjaro, I'd actually had a couple of blood tests where my kidney EGFR, they call it, that had been below 90. Now, above 90 means you've got no problem with your kidneys at all. Below 90 can indicate a problem with kidneys or a bit of dehydration. You don't want to see it continuing to go down. There are things that say if you have below 60, it's a problem. You can go down as low as 60 and it's not necessarily a problem. Again, I'm not professional, so I don't know. This is me cross-referencing from NHS websites and other websites that are medical websites, but I'm not a surgeon or an expert in these, so I don't know. But my kidneys are doing okay. Again, touch wood. No AKI, which is acute kidney injury, which is tested every time. I've never had anything like that. Again, very, very lucky. GGT, now this is quite important for your liver. This shows, especially if you've got fatty liver and if you've got a problem with alcoholic fatty liver, they will measure your GGT. And a bit of a word of advice, the GGT will, if you are an alcoholic or you drink a lot, even if you're not an alcoholic, and you tell your hepatologist or your doctor, oh no, I've given up drinking, the GGT will tell them that you haven't. So mine is below the level, so that's fine. It's no problem at all. The only problem I had in my bloods was the C-reactive protein. Now, on the day I went, I had hello. He has to make himself known by tapping. On the day I went, I had a big fibro flare. I could barely walk this hip and this leg was really bad. And when, I had a lot of pain in this finger as well. And when she did my bloods in this arm, oh my God, the pain. I've never had a blood test so painful. And she is, this particular phlebotomist, she's fabulous. I don't like needles, as you know. I have a phobia about them. And she has made me not worry about having my bloods done at all because she's so gentle. And she was surprised. She said, I don't understand it. She said, you're so well hydrated. It went straight in. The vein was nice and lubricated. It went through the skin easy. She said, I don't understand. I can only assume it's your fibro is causing you to suffer that pain. So I'm hoping that the C-reactive protein that's gone from 12 to 29, and it should be below 10, is due to my fibro flare-up. Now, some early documentation I found, medical documentation I found on Dr. Google, does say that fibromyalgia won't show up as C-reactive protein, but there is other more modern documentation that says that that fibromyalgia can be a cause of higher C-reactive protein. Now, it's not majorly high; it's just over the limit. And they said in my thing that it was I have a chronic condition, so weren't worried. Satisfactory result. Everything else was normal. No further action. Which brings me on to my blood sugar for my diabetes. So back in July, August last year, I was 7.8, 8.4, which is 68%, I think. Not got these figures in front of me. And then when I was tested again, which I couldn't find yesterday, tested it a few weeks later, I'd gone down a bit, but not enough, so that's when they put me on metformin in October, end of October. I went on that. In December, I had gone down to 51. I think that was 6. No, 51 was. It was about 6 point something. But it was 51. I'll put them up so you know. So I was hoping that I might have got to 40. 40 mmol per mole, which is normal bloods. These turned up a couple of days later, which is why this video is a bit later out this week. And my bloods were 29 mmol per mole. They were 11 below in range for normal bloods, which is 4.8%. And that, I shall show it to you on here, that equates to a finger prick test of 5.06 mmol per litre. And for those of you across the pond or any other countries that use this, that equates to 91.18 milligram per decilitre. So I'm absolutely stunned. Now that is with 2 medications, but I have been eating incredibly well. And the amount of sugar in my that measures the HbA1c, measures the amount of sugar that's in your system from the last 3 months. Okay. Now I got another text from my diabetic nurse yesterday morning. I feel a bit uncomfortable about this at the moment, but we shall see. As you can see, it says stop taking metformin. Yeah, so in 3 to 4 months they will retest and see whether it's had a huge effect on my blood sugars. So if my blood sugars go up, they'll re-add it back in. But they can only test like that. Fingers crossed, in the next 3 to 4 months, I'll have got myself into a position where Mounjaro is the only thing I need. And yeah, they won't need to add anything else on. So what is that? I've no idea. Oh, anyway, I don't know what it was. So, blood's good. So today's wait. Now it's only yesterday was Wednesday. Today is Thursday. I don't know what's going on. I have to say I'm not managing to eat my full calories. To 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 my normal calories. On 5, which is great. It's absolutely fabulous. So here we go. 153.6. Which relates. What did I? What was it? Don't know. I'll stick it up there, and you'll see how close I am. I'm on smidge of 6.5 stone. And that is I think it's 3 stone 1 pound on Mounjaro. I've hit 3 stone on Mounjaro. Yay! So yeah, it's so far 5 is doing okay, and we just have to keep our fingers crossed that everything continues that way. So any of you that are still here at the end of this video, please always be careful. If you're not, if you're getting your Mounjaro privately and you're not going and having blood tests with your doctor, ask for them. Even if they don't want you to be on it, ask for the blood tests, because if you can catch something before it becomes a problem, all the better. I know sometimes people don't want to know because somebody might say you can't take that, and I get that that's a really big thing because it's such a helpful tool, but you don't want to make yourself ill through it. So okay, right, I shall go. I've got to go and get doggy some food, and yeah, have a good weekend, and I'll get back to you next week and let you know how I'm going. All right, take care. Bye.